Gang, gang, what's up? I said gang because you're just like me, looking all over YouTube trying to get an edge in CFB Dynasty. CFB Dynasty. I've been looking for the coordinator trees to be exposed, and I haven't seen it anywhere posted online. This upload takes me back to my roots. I made a YouTube to give out information that I couldn't find online. So here I am to put y'all on. So subscribe and all that, leave a like and all that, leave a comment and all that if I help you out. Because if your friends won't tell you, I will. I know most people will put this information behind a paywall, but I'm doing this for the love of the game, you feel me? And to take it a step further, if y'all really rocking with me, throw 100 likes on there and I'll put y'all on. I'll send a code out so you can get this game yourself. So tap in. But enough of all that with the YouTube intro stuff. CFB 26 has new coach ability changes, but the impact of your choices are still the same. And in this upload, it's only the 5 and 4-star schools that I'm covering. So let me know in the comments if you want me to do 3 stars and below. So let's get it. Contrary to popular belief, Recruiter is still viable, but I know most will pursue Motivator. It's a costly choice to make because it'll cost you 30 coins to unlock the next ability. For me, I'll let the coordinators dictate which option I'll go towards. And if a team has a great recruiter, or maybe even elite recruiter, then I might lean towards becoming a motivator. If a team has great development in motivator, talent developer, or architect, then I'll lean towards recruiter. There are some clear standouts in either direction, which I'll point out at the end of this video. Since this upload is covering 5 and 4-star programs, these teams most likely have great prospects on the roster. I'd suggest going the motivator route to get the most out of that younger talent group, and decide after a couple of seasons if you want to bring in elite recruiters or unlock recruiter as your next coach ability in the tree. But no, these concepts can be subject to change. I haven't done any testing myself. Most of the tests you see out there are based off of simming. I like to do my tests based off of gameplay for the XP gains. It's more realistic. And in CFB 25, there was a difference in the two when you simmed and got experience versus playing it out. For example, Architect was way better if you actually played your games and got the XP versus Master Motivator. When you simmed, you saw the benefits there. There's a difference, and hopefully we'll figure out how that is disseminated in CFB 26. But with that being said, you want to stack your abilities.
What do you mean by that?
Well, Drewski, from your head coach onto your coordinators, if an ability is chosen for one coach and it's also selected by another, then the payoff for that ability is doubled, tripled. So back to the topic, when I give my final assessment, when I give my tier list, stacking will be a part of that equation. I'm prioritizing this for every ability outside of the tactician ability. I'm not gonna cap to y'all, that's trash. I already told you, if your friends won't tell you, I will. And the reason why it's trash is because the perks are removed in the playoffs.
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
So all the points you put towards tactician, you will not experience them in the playoffs. We trying to win natties, baby. We ain't even worried about the regular season unless this has changed in CFB 26. Let me know in the comments. But with that being said, when I give my final assessment, when I give my grades, this is what I'll have in mind. For example, Alabama, their defensive coordinator, they only had Scheme Guru, which is an elevated version of Tactician. That's trash. That makes him an easy coach to get clipped. But through the regular season, I get no benefits from him. I can't roll with that. Well, let me clarify. No additional benefits. Yeah, the Tactician is cool to help you get through the regular season, but I need XP gains. I need recruiting benefits. That's an easy transition into the tier list. I already mentioned stacking as a variable. Synergy is another one, coupled with certain thresholds. That's the logic behind what I'm going to grade. And keep in mind, these are the top schools. So when I say S tier, A tier, and B tier, that's how we're going to go about it. That's as low as it's going to get. I wanted to make a trash tier, and I'll say why. I kind of already teased it, but I'll get into that later. There's timestamps on this video, so you can go straight to that. But before you do, listen to this part. There's 3 core synergies. The combinations will put you in a tier. And if these combinations hit a threshold, then you'll be higher on that tier list. So to get into it, we have motivator paired with talent developer and architect. We also have motivator with just talent developer. And we have recruiter with strategist. Here's how they are separated. Recruiter and strategist have great synergy. You can scout with less hours. You have more hours to do more visits, increase your chances of locking in that prospect. And at higher levels, you could have a better assessment of who you're bringing into the fold. Dev traits are revealed, higher starting interest, better deal breaker situations. Then we have motivator and talent developer. They have great synergy. The reason why is because you get bonus XP for the position when that player is drafted. With motivator, you get bonus XP during the offseason. That's 2 individual boosts in the offseason. When talent developer is at level 3, you get extra benefits for your starter, leading to higher chances of your player getting drafted because the overalls are increasing. When you throw architect into the equation, that's how you get those higher abilities to go with the XP gains. It's tough to take advantage of removing the skill caps with architect if you don't have the XP gains to get you there. You'll see your competition have a lot of goal abilities, but adding that architect to your motivator and talent developer is the cheese. Like I told y'all, tactician is trash. I'm avoiding it at all costs. My head coach build will most likely be based off my coordinators having architect. The reason why I mentioned my coordinators having architect is because tactician is a prerequisite to get architect. I don't want to waste my money, my coins on that gang. That's not me. So finally, let's get into it. At the top of the S tier, we have Penn State, Oregon Ducks, and Florida State. Penn State has an OC that met the level 3 threshold on motivator and architect with wide receivers and O-line. And the defensive coordinator has met the level 3 threshold on motivator and architect with defensive line and linebackers and somewhat on the DBs. Next, we have Oregon. They have an OC that's met the level threshold on motivator and talent developer with their quarterbacks and receivers. Plus, they have the max out recruiter perk for those positions. And to throw it in, they have a defensive coordinator that met the level 3 threshold on motivator and architect for defensive line and linebacker maxed out. Next, we have the Florida State Seminoles. They met the level 3 threshold with quarterbacks and running backs on motivator and architect. And the defensive coordinator has met the minimum level requirement or threshold for recruiting strategists with their linebackers and DBs. The combination of these coordinators stand out the most. You can kind of already tell who I'm rocking with, but that is the top of the S tier list. Georgia Bulldogs is next in line because they have an OC with motivator and talent developer. But what puts them at the top of the A tier is elite recruiter. They don't hit the level 3 thresholds on most of the things we're looking for, but the seeds are there. The defensive coordinator hits level 3 on architect for the D-line and linebackers, but not as much on motivator, but it's still a solid pick. Next, we got Michigan, and they have the motivator and talent developer synergy, and it's peaking with the quarterback and receivers. The C's are planted with the running back and O-line. The defensive coordinator has architect paired with motivator. The linebackers met the level 3 threshold, while the D-line and defensive backs are getting there. The offensive coordinator is great, but I felt like the DC held them back from being higher on this list. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, the offensive coordinator has recruiter as well. So that's not something to sleep on. Notre Dame, them boys out of South Bend. The offensive coordinator has motivator paired with talent developer, and they're hitting on the level 3 threshold for wide receivers and quarterbacks. They also are doing that for these positions on the recruiter side. And the defensive coordinator has a level 3 threshold for motivator and architect for D-line and DBs. You know what? No cap. They might actually be more of a S tier, bottom of the S tier, because this ain't sounding like an A tier combination. I might have to make some slight adjustments. Next, we got the Buckeyes with Ohio State. Their OC has elite recruiter paired with motivator and talent developer. The receivers are getting a lot of love, but other than that, it's a little lackluster. Where the defensive coordinator is slightly better, with the recruiter and strategist synergy making it easier to pick the best D linemen, linebackers, and DBs. So this is probably the best recruiting coordinator lineup that I've seen so far. Who we got next? We got the U. The offensive coordinator has the motivator and architect synergy. They're just barely missing out on that level 3 threshold, which puts them at the bottom of the A tier. The defensive coordinator has the motivator, talent developer, and recruiter tree, which is one of my favorites, but the level threshold just isn't there outside of the linebackers. Man, when I tell y'all, I felt like Ole Miss should have been ranked higher. Boy, you'll see why. They have the recruiter and strategist synergy that favors quarterbacks. But other than that, the other positions are just at level 1, which isn't terrible. But the defense is elite. I said Ohio State had the best recruiting defensive coordinator, but Ole Miss has the best defensive development by far, only rivaled by Notre Dame. They have motivator with the architect maxed out for DBs and linebacker. Next is University of Texas, which has the motivator and architect set up for the OC. It's solid because the motivator is hitting that level 3 threshold, but the architect isn't quite there yet. It's close, and the same could be said about the DC. Just like some of the other A tier choices, they are a couple great seasons away from being S tier. As we transition to the next tier, I feel like teams like Texas, Ole Miss, and the Hurricanes, the U, they could technically be a little higher, but I had to drag them down just a little bit. Clemson has the recruiter strategist synergy, which leads to competitive attempts at skill positions based on the offensive coordinator. The defensive coordinator has the same synergy, but up the score with the elite recruiter. They are competitive with Ohio State recruiting wise. And if you want all the 5 stars tap in with this team, I wouldn't be mad at you for saying they're S tier if recruiting is how you want to make an edge in your dynasty. Gators down in Florida, they have the motivator and talent developer synergy that targets quarterbacks and receivers. Plus there's a focus on receivers with the recruiting ability as well. The defensive coordinator is good with the motivator architect setup, meeting the level 3 threshold on D-line and linebacker, but the linebacker architect is just that one. But that isn't too bad, right? LSU Tigers came through with a motivator, talent developer, elite recruiter mix. Like I said, one of my favorites. However, it's focused only on quarterbacks and wide receivers, which might not be a bad thing for those that only pass the ball. The defensive coordinator adds a recruiter strategist synergy into locking in on linebackers and DBs, but it's more middle of the pack with their lineup. The Sooners roster is so fire to me. I almost didn't care what the coordinators were on, but I gotta put y'all on. That's what we're here for. We have the motivator architect synergy to max out quarterbacks and spread the wealth with the rest of the offensive positions. Just like the other A tiers, a couple good seasons and you'll be there at S tier. It's a defensive coordinator that has a recruiter strategist combination. They meet the bare minimum level 1, but I gotta be honest, the defensive coordinator is what's holding this team back. Tennessee, my coworker is gonna hate I said this, but I gotta keep it real. The OC has motivator and a talent developer, but they are only hitting the level 3 threshold on quarterbacks. And I gotta tell you, the defense is a little different and it's unique. You'll see why. The motivator architect setup is there, and the linebackers and DBs are hitting that level 3 threshold. But what's fire is they have level 2 on the running back for motivator. It ain't level 3, so you can't get too excited, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. USC Trojans coming straight out of Southern Cal We see the return of the motivator, talent developer, and recruiter setup with the offensive coordinator just struggling to hit that level 3 thresholds by only doing it on motivator with the QBs and O-line, where the defensive coordinator has the DBs NFL ready with a slight focus on the linebackers. You really can't sleep on coordinators that have their architect and motivator maxed out. That's a dangerous combination. Texas Tech, word to Johnny Manziel. I say that because the offensive coordinator has motivator and the architect build up to maximize quarterbacks and receiver development with a slight focus on the O-line. The defensive coordinator has the recruiter strategist synergy, but it's not nothing crazy. They hit the minimum thresholds for the setup, but I could really see them getting outbid unless it's for a DB. Next up, we got the Huskies, and I would love to put them higher on the B tier because they are so close to being A tier or even S tier for what I'm looking for. But they barely missed the level 3 threshold with both coordinators. The OC has the motivator with talent developer and recruiter set up. Almost everything at level 2, which is nice, but not enough to edge over most of the options I've listed today. The defensive coordinator has motivator and architect, which is the same deal. If you apply motivator as your head coach's main skill, who knows, this could be a real sleeper squad and surprise a lot of folks. Last but not least, compared to the rest of the game, I guess, is Bama. And I'm a Bama fan, but dog, they got done dirty, depending on how you look at it. The offensive coordinator has a recruiter strategist synergy focused on quarterbacks, running backs, and O-line, which makes sense. But dog, the defensive coordinator only has tactician. And while it may be upgraded to scheme guru, what did I tell y'all at the beginning of this? Tactician doesn't translate into college football playoffs. So you're essentially heading into the playoffs with 2 coaches versus 3. I'm not rolling. This is the list. It's bonus content. Bare minimum, I wanted the world to see these coordinators to help y'all make better decisions. I went through it so y'all don't have to go through it. You feel me? Just giving y'all my opinion based on how I go about things on the game. If you're tapped into this channel, you know my approach is usually the way of the black sheep. With that being said, don't forget, if you want this for the 3 stars and below, let me know. Till then, be easy.